What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we got a really good comparison between two amazing bikes. One is the Dr650 and we do also have the Triumph 400 Scrambler X. And you'll be surprised, these specs are very close. Almost the same horsepower, but the Triumph has a lot of new amenities that I feel the Dr650 is lacking. But the DR still has a lot of really good qualities that still surpasses the 400 Scrambler. So let's just dive right into it. All right, lots to uncover, lots to unpack. Let's dive right in. So as you know, the Triumph 400 Scrambler X just came out. And it's just hitting the US markets right now too. I believe Texas got the first shipment, so that should be starting to spread out a little bit more across the country in the next month or so. So you should start seeing more Scrambler 400Xs riding around your neighborhoods pretty soon. And I was pretty excited. I was getting kind of hyped up because I wanted something about a 400cc bike because they tend to get really good gas mileage. And the Dr650 gets pretty good gas mileage. It's about 50, maybe a little bit more, you know, depending on how you ride, depending on how you set your jettings. But the Scrambler just really looks like an interesting bike. It has a lot of new features that the Dr650 just doesn't have. Such as 4-piston brake calipers, so it's gonna have a lot more feel when you're actually, you know, pressing on the brake. It's just gonna have more braking power and it's gonna feel better. The Dr650 almost feels like a more powerful bicycle brake, especially when, you know, you're going around a turn and you need to stop real quick. It really kind of it's a little lacking in the brake power. Now it's just fine. It's not a really heavy bike, but still, I feel like it could use an upgrade. And the brakes on the Scrambler 400X is going to be Bybri brakes, which is going to be a subsidiary of Brembo brakes. And if you know anything about Brembo brakes, they have the best brakes by far on the market right now. At least sold commercially. You could probably get custom brakes that might be a little bit better, but you're going to pay, you know, up the wazoo for it. There's so many comparisons between the Dr650 and the Scrambler 400X. For example, the horsepower on the Dr650 is going to be about 40, I think it's 43 horsepower. And on the Scrambler 400X, it's going to be just under 40 horsepower. So that's pretty close, you know. The compression ratio is going to be a lot higher on the Triumph. It's going to be 12 to 1, I believe, and the Dr650 is 9.5 to 1. So it means that you're going to get better gas mileage on the 400X, and you're going to see a little bit more power, obviously, because it's a 400cc. It's got to work a little bit harder than the 650. So only time will tell if it's actually going to be reliable, durable. And that was the big thing about my review on the 300L Honda, the CRF, compared to the Dr650. A lot of people just weren't sure if the CRF 300 was going to be as reliable as the CRF 250L, which is a completely proven platform. Now, there's a big thing in the Triumph. It's actually made in India, so it's not a British-made bike anymore. Triumphs, I believe, are made all over the world, but the 400 Scrambler X is made in India. And India is actually a pretty good motorcycle making area because they have some of the most dense populations of motorcyclists. So you need to make products that are going to last. So India is doing a pretty good job of pumping out a lot of different products. I want to say even like KTM is making some of their products in India as well. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure. So there are a lot of other really good, like, similar features between the DR650 and the Scrambler 400X, such as the off-road capabilities. Now, when I'm looking for an off-road capable bike, I'm looking for something that at least has 6.5 to 7 inches of ground clearance. Because you want to go over like logs, you want to go over rocks, you're going to be scraping dirt, you're going to be doing a lot of things on the bottom of the engine that you really don't want to stress, you know, different parts of the bike out. So it's better to have a higher ground clearance. Now the ground clearance on the DR650 is, I want to say it's about, what is it, 10 inches I think? Yes, 10.4 inches. And the 400X is going to be, I believe it's 7.8 inches of ground clearance. So that's pretty good. That's not too bad. I don't feel like the 400X is going to be something you're going to be doing really, really rough single track adventures with, but it's still going to get you through a lot of the fire roads, a lot of the national forests, you know, the roads that are just going to have a little bit more messed up kind of pathways. I feel like you're going to be able to get through that. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys just watched the video with Zach from Revzilla, and he ended up taking this bike to India, and he ended up taking it all the way up to the top of the Himalayas. So for one, that's going to show you that it can change altitudes really well. And just kind of like Nora Lee with the 300L, she went to Alaska with it. And that's the really nice thing about fuel injection, is it's gonna not have you worry so much about having to change jets like on a carburetor. With a fuel injection, cold mornings, it's really not that bad to start up and get your bike going. With carburetors, you kind of have to, you know, pop on your throttle or your choke, and you got to make sure that it warms up before it's actually operating properly. Plus, with fuel injection, you're going to get better gas mileage as well. There's just no way to really get around that. It's almost always going to be more fuel efficient to have fuel injectors over a carburetor. So the seat height on the Scrambler is 33 inches, so very approachable, especially to new riders. The seat height on the DR650 is going to be 34.8 inches, which really isn't terrible too, especially for a dual sport. The gas tanks are exactly the same. They're both at 3.4 gallons, which really isn't a lot, but you're going to be getting somewhere about 50 miles to the gallon on the DR650, and the Scrambler, you're going to end up getting somewhere between 70 and like 78 miles per gallon. So that's a pretty big difference, you know, and a lot of that is just basically new technology, you know. The DR650, mine is a gas guzzler, man, I swear. But I got it jetted with really fat jets, so it goes really fast when I need it to, and that helps a lot on the freeway. The wet weight of the Scrambler X is 395, and the DR650 is going to be, I want to say it's 355, 360, somewhere around there. But you can do a lot of mods on the DR650 to lower the weight. I think my bike's somewhere about 330 now, because I took off that really terrible exhaust. That muffler was like, I don't know, 15 pounds. So I got a FMF exhaust, a lot lighter, performs much better, and just way less weight. The front tire on the DR650 is going to be a 21 versus the 19 front tire on the Scrambler X. So Once again, the DR650 is just going to be more capable off-road, and it's going to give you just more of a durable, rugged kind of riding experience. You're not going to have to worry so much. Another big thing that I noticed about the Scrambler X was that the frame is actually integrated with the engine. So it means that the frame is actually bolted onto the engine instead of the engine being harnessed by the actual frame. So what that means is, say if you get in an accident, your engine's going to take a lot of that shock. And that's really bad coming from an engineering standpoint when you're doing off-roading, because you don't want that engine to take a lot of shock, because a lot of the tolerances on motorcycles are very tight, and once they get loose, like once your piston, your rocker and everything, your piston arm, once that gets loose on the flywheel, then all hell breaks loose. Basically, your parts just come apart, and then once that happens, things start shaking apart, and then your engine goes to shit. So the Scrambler 400X is definitely going to have more amenities. It's going to have the traction control modes where you can turn them off and on. So your ABS, if you want to go off-road, you can just turn that off. You have the fuel injection, so better gas mileage, better performance, more reliability going up into the mountains. You're going to have your throttle by wire on the 400X, so it's going to give you a smoother throttle response compared to the DR650. And all these things are really nice, but do you really need them, you know? When it comes down to it, I like reliability. Reliability to me is king. And everything that you add extra onto a motorcycle is going to break at some point. You know, what's going to fail first? The sensor and the throttle by wire, or is the cable on the DR650 going to break first? Obviously, it's going to be the electronic sensor. They get dirty, and you know, they shut down, and you can't use them, and then your bike's kind of useless without it. The DR650 does have some advantages. It's going to have a bigger front tire. It's going to have the 21-inch front tire, and so you're going to be able to roll over, you know, logs and bigger obstacles. It's going to handle a little bit better on the dirt, I think, especially on those very rugged terrains. It's more of a, you know, a dual sport, almost like a half dirt bike, half street bike. So there's a lot of advantages, especially when it comes to parts. Parts are going to be way cheaper on the DR650. This bike's literally been around for decades, so you're going to have a lot more options on the aftermarket parts. Triumph parts, they're not crazy expensive, but they will get up there. They're not like BMW territory, where you're paying $120 for something small, but still, they're not as you know, widely available as Suzuki parts, because Suzuki has many parts that fit many different bikes, and a lot of them are interchangeable. So that's nice when it comes to looking in the aftermarket parts and being like, oh, well, I need to get a chain tensioner. Oh, well, there's so many chain tensioners for the DR650 because it's on other ATVs and it's on other motorcycles, because they're going to reuse that part on multiple different bikes. So it all comes down to, you know, the new versus the old. Is it going to be amenities versus more reliability? And don't be scared because of a carburetor. It's not hard to work on. Yeah, they're a little bit more finicky, but if my DR650 breaks down, I know I could fix it, usually with just a screwdriver, some carb spray, and a few hand tools. You know, when a sensor goes out, your bike's just done until you get that new part. But I am excited because all these new smaller cc bikes are coming out in the market, you know. People are realizing that they don't need to have a 1,000 cc's, 1,200 cc's, 1,500 cc's. So if you guys have any comments, put them in the comment box below. Let me know if you think the DR650 is going to outlast the Scrambler 400. Let me know what you think your advantages or disadvantages would be. Anything that I missed, because I just wanted to do a quick overview and let you guys in on, oh wow, this is going to be a really cool possibility for you guys to have your perfect bike. Because I think a lot of people are always searching for that one, like, ultimate dual, you know, go anywhere kind of motorcycle that's really going to last people for a long, long time. And so far, it's been the DR650 for me. It's such a fun, easy to ride bike. Relatively lightweight, you know, at about 300. I think my bike's somewhere about 330 to 340, which isn't too bad. So just kind of, you know, keep it in your head that the bike might not be way better than the DR650, but it is going to have some advantages over it, especially in the gas mileage range. Going from 70 to 80 miles per gallon on the Triumph to, you know, 50 miles per gallon on the DR650, that's a pretty good jump, you know. So it's going to save you money, and it's really going to give you, I don't know, just a lot of little things compared to the DR650. So like I said, be nice on the forums. Try not to, you know, be like, oh god, you know, my bike's so much better than this guy's, because a smaller bike might be better than a bigger bike to another person, you know. They might be shorter, so it might be easier for them to ride, you know. They might not do dirt like I do dirt on, you know, the DR650. So they might not need those advantages. But yeah, definitely let me know what you think in the comments and what you're excited to see, and we'll go from there. All right, y'all have a great night, guys. Take care. Peace.